Boruto episode 4 review. This episode was a very good episode. There is a lot of stuff that we do still talk about from this episode today, even though we're 74 episodes ahead. Now, before I even get into that, I know some people are going to say, Bar, you don't usually cover Boruto dubbed episodes, and I do want to start covering Boruto dubbed episodes. It'll pretty much be not every single week, but almost every single week. It'll probably be like, out of 10 episodes, I'll probably cover 7 or 8. It'll definitely be the ones that I really liked and the ones that are really interesting, but there are some episodes that I didn't really like when the subbed version came out, so I'm pretty much not going to be making a review when the dubbed version came out. And I'm pretty sure you guys know some of those episodes where it's extremely slow, nothing really happens. But for the dubbed viewers out there, after episode 5, I won't be talking about anything pertaining to the subbed anime because I know that's extreme spoilers for you guys. Like, we're literally 74 episodes ahead, so technically a lot of my fans already know exactly what's going to happen, as well as me. So after episode 5, I promise I will not talk about any more spoilers. I can't speak for the people in the comment section though. But a huge thing that we still do talk about to this day is Boruto's summoning jutsu. I'm pretty sure you guys know Boruto recently got a summoning jutsu, but in episode 4 he summoned something that we were completely baffled about, which was the Nue. A lot of people back then thought that the Nue would eventually be Boruto's permanent summoning jutsu, but that's not exactly how it played out. Another popular theory was that the Nue was Boruto's spirit animal. If you guys don't know, in terms of spirit animals, they usually always go to the summoner. For example, we had Naruto, his spirit animal was the toad, and of course Orochimaru's spirit animal is like a snake. So naturally, because the spirit animal, the Nue, had a direct correlation to Boruto's eyes, we automatically thought that this would probably be Boruto's spirit animal. But as of right now, as for where we stand in the sub, that is not the case, and I really want to know why. It's still a mystery, as I said, of how Boruto got to summon this thing. As you guys know, you can't summon an animal unless you sign a contract with it. Of course, Boruto did not sign a contract with the Nue, but it still appeared. Now, there are some theories that the person that is behind all of this is the person that actually summoned it, but the thing is, Boruto is the one that weaved the hand sign. If you guys look, the summoning signature is right under Boruto's hand. Boruto bit his stomach and all, so there's just a lot of evidence that Boruto is the one to summon this. But getting off of that conversation, another interesting thing that I did see in this episode was the fact that Boruto did foreshadow that he was going to eventually be summoning Snake. Now, this here was even more interesting because I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans out there, they probably thought that Boruto didn't like Snake, and that idea comes from the fact that Boruto was always cringing every time he sees one of Mitsuki's tiny snakes, and I think it's probably because Boruto was a little bit scared of snakes, which is very common for a child of Boruto's age, and eventually Boruto will overcome that fear of snakes. Now, the last things I want to talk about is the new voices that I didn't talk about in episode 1, and there was a couple voices that I didn't necessarily hear. One of the main ones being Sarada's voice. As I said in my last Boruto dubbed review, I said I didn't really get to hear that much of Sarada's voice, so I didn't really want to comment on it. In this episode, Sarada was definitely one of the main characters in this episode, and of course we got to hear her speak a lot.
Normally, a gentleman would agree to defer to a lady.
Yeah, well, maybe if you were a lady.
What is that supposed to mean?
What do you think, genius?
Now, her voice sounds very much like her own personality. I really like that voice for her, especially the dominant tone. It sounds a little bit like Sakura's voice, but it's not like completely identical like how Shikadai and Shikamaru's voices are. So I really like that voice for Sarada. Now, another voice that I really like is Metal Lee's voice.
Nope. Pick a gorilla for power.
Metal Lee has a very strong voice. It sounds nothing like Rock Lee's voice. Metal Lee's voice sounds like a bodybuilder. It definitely fits his personality, but him being the son of Rock Lee and him basically looking exactly like Rock Lee, it sounds a little bit weird, but I like it for Metal Lee. It distinguishes Metal Lee from Rock Lee, and it's a very good thing. And one of my favorite voices comes from one of my favorite characters, which is Iwabe. Iwabe sounds like a complete dog.
Just leave this one to me. Earth style, mud wall.
It just sounds like Iwabe is a strong ninja, and I really like that for Iwabe. But overall, this episode is a very good episode. As I said, there's still some things that we do talk about in this episode today, 74 episodes later. And this episode was the competition between the boys and the girls, which is a very good episode. One last thing I do want to talk about is that you can clearly see how they're trying to gear this series towards a new fan base. Of course, Naruto Shippuden comes like 30 minutes right before Boruto, but you kind of understand where they're going. And I really say that mainly because Shino in this episode, he was explaining everything that these Genins were doing. Now, one of the best examples of this is the shadow paralysis jutsu. Shigedai used the shadow paralysis jutsu in this episode, and of course, we all know about the shadow paralysis jutsu. The Nara clan all uses it. Shikamaru was a huge proponent of why we know about what the shadow paralysis is, and of course, if you're an old viewer, you definitely know what it is. Now, if you're a new viewer, you probably won't know what it is, and Shino on this episode, he was basically describing the shadow paralysis jutsu while Shigedai was doing it. And not only that, Shino was also describing a lot of the characters and even more jutsus, so you kind of get the sense that they're gearing it to even more newer viewers that are going to be tuning in and watching Boruto. But as I said, I really like this episode. Great episode. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. And not only that, let me know what you guys think about the voices that I did show you guys in the comment section below, because there are some dubbed haters out there, but there are a few that really like the dub. Let me know. But it's me, your boy Barbie, and we out.